Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning phone call. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, everybody. Hope you are recovering from your Halloween candy hangover. So we'll go ahead and get started here. First thing we want to talk about was we have changed the website the public website for the 21-point checklist. It is now called, you'll find it at www.fullchecklist.org or www.fullchecklist.com. The reason being is because with Google, you know, when you're typing into Google, it'll auto-populate and give you some choices on what you want. So if somebody's typing in 21-point checklist, they may get some suggestions that would drive them towards the websites that actually show how good we are at bringing it at the 21-point checklist is at bringing on new clients. So it's actually, we don't want to be showing our prospects that the 21-point checklist is designed to bring on new clients, even though it is, and once they go through it, they would totally get why that's the case. But actually, it's going to drive them to a place that's more advisor-oriented than consumer-oriented. So, and Missy, can you get on a second here too, so we can talk about this a second? So if you've embedded the video from the 21pointchecklist.com, will that affect them at all, or are they still good?
Nope, that won't affect them at all because that embed code comes directly from the video, so that has no bearing. The only thing that would affect you, which right now is pointing, so it's not going to be an issue, is if you were ever using the actual URL, the 21pointchecklist.com URL. If you were using that, it will point to fullchecklist.org, but we would recommend that you go in and update that link to the true fullchecklist.org link.
So do you guys get it? So if they go type in www.21pointchecklist.com, it's great. There's no problem whatsoever. But if they're typing in www.21pointchecklist and then they get some suggestions and they click one of those suggestions, it might push them towards an advisor-oriented website, like a video or something like that, versus the actual website. So can I get some yeses on that? Does everybody get that? Good. Okay. So we've just changed it to www.fullchecklist.org because it's a simple and easy to remember domain. Cool. So gotta have faith. Here's what I mean by that. Investors believe in two institutions over the last maybe 15 years. Investors believe in two institutions have allowed the market to grow with some hiccups, but it still has allowed it to grow. But did anybody have a guess on what these two institutions would be? They got a big boost in their belief, in the world's belief in them in 2008 when it bailed out the problems we had in 2008. Fed is one. Yep, Fed is one. Yep. What's the other one? Think globally. Think globally. See if somebody can get it. Not EU. You're on the right track, though, Stephen. Oh, nobody's getting it. Okay. See if it's the U.S. Fed and the government in Beijing. Why the government in Beijing? Who bought all that debt in 2008 from the U.S.? Wasn't the EU. It was China. So the world's belief in these two institutions would allow the world economy to continue to grow. And they were actually responsible for bailing us out in 2008. Now that could be a problem because when faith gets shaken, that can cause some big problems. So we're going to talk about a bursting bubble. Now I'm not going to talk about the bursting bubble of any markets or anything like that. I'm going to talk about the bursting bubble of reputation. Because if somebody's has a reputation for being honest, and then they're found to be a thief, even if it was only one time, what happens to that reputation? What happens to that reputation? Can it be repaired? No. So, I mean, any reputation, I don't care if it's about being honest or about being on time or about being whatever. Once a reputation is broken, it cannot come back. And see, that's a real problem because China's rapid growth is what has allowed, it's gone from basically a 25 years ago, the economy, the Chinese economy, wasn't even on the radar. It was like Vietnam's economy 25 years ago. It's gone from there to the second biggest economy in the world, and it's gone up and up and up and up and up and up and up. I mean, they're worried because their growth rate is only 7%. Guys, that's double or triple what ours is. And they're worried because it's only 7%. And now, how have they done that? Has that been purely by the economy? How have they had just straight up with no hiccups? So really, from 1990 to present, no problems whatsoever. No, they've had problems. What happened to those problems, guys? Aha, Terry got it. Government control. It was manipulated, Tom, exactly. The government manipulated it. Now, here's the problem with that. Anybody understand why we're having such huge forest fires now? Why are we having such huge forest fires? See if anybody is ecologically oriented in their thinking. Kind of, Stephen, you're right. What do you mean? Be more not drogging, not drought. Well, you guys are around the edges. What happened is this, is before man arrived in this country, there were a lot more, Tom got it. So there was a lot more forest fires. There were tons more forest fires before we arrived here. But were they as big or as hot? No, they just burned the underbrush, went right through and burned all the underbrush and burned all that fuel. But by us preventing, so they found, as usual, when man gets involved, so Smokey the Bear, let's prevent forest fires. By preventing all those forest fires, guess what happened to all the underbrush? It got out of control. So when you don't allow little fires to occur, guess what they learned? When you don't allow little fires to occur, guess what happens? When there's finally a fire, guess what kind of fire it is? Huge. So what do you think my point is? Thinking about that, what do you think my point is? Because the Chinese government has constantly fixed and basically they've been artificially keeping the economy out of recessions at all costs. Eventually, guess what happens? Because the economy needs, guys, does the economy need recessions? Does the economy need the stock market to go down occasionally? I mean, it needs it. That's what causes because if we have unbridled growth, guess what happens? We have unbridled collapse. So the thing is that we have to achieve stability by introducing low levels of volatility. We need to have those occasional recessions. Now, we don't want big ones, but little recessions. We need those occasional dips in the market to keep the irrational behavior out of those marketplaces. And China has not done that. And that's what's so scary, because if they get to the point where they're nearing that point with all sorts of reasons, with debt, real estate overgrowth. I mean, there are so many problems over there. If that goes, guess what? That's a problem, because the world has been leaning on the Chinese economy for the last 10 years. And the second thing is Federal Reserve. Now, so if they go and the Chinese government isn't able to control that economy and the economy pops, what's going to happen to the world belief in this unbelievable, unbridled growth of the Chinese economy? It's going to be gone. Now, the Federal Reserve, there is a lot of belief in the Federal Reserve. That's why the dollar is so strong. But what is the problem with the Federal Reserve? It's on empty. What do I mean by the Federal Reserve is on empty? How does the Federal Reserve keep the economy going? By keeping interest rates what? At zero, yeah. That's right, Jerry, and yeah, you guys all got it. Yep. And how much lower can they go? No bullets left, right, Casey? So where's the gas? In the 1990s, when 10-year Treasury yields were at 7%, could they lower interest rates to keep it to take us out of a recession? Yeah, they could. But in the past 2 years, I mean, how much room do they have to take us out of a recession right now? If we go into a recession, how much room do they have to take us out of a recession? None. That's scary. See, we're at the bottom of the well here. There's nothing left in the well. There is no. So if we go into recession, that's a problem. So why why worry? Where did the U.S. market growth come from? Well, it's easy money provided by the Fed. That's where, since 2008, that's where the money has come from. The dollar weakening until 2014. This is what allowed multinationals to boost profits in terms of the U.S. GDP. From this point on, in the foreseeable future, the U.S. companies are going to be fighting an uphill battle. So first of all, the Fed is empty. They have no way to increase economic growth. They can't, they can't take it much below 2.2%. So here's the growth of the. Oops, I'm sorry. The growth of the dollar. Oh, let me see if I've got that. No, I don't have it. Shoot. So if you looked at the growth of the dollar since 2008, it's gone up and up and up, and it finally went down in 2014. Now the problem with that is this: is because these multinationals are going to have to be fighting that. Anybody see what happened to several of the multinationals last week when the earnings came in? They had record earnings, but what happened to their profits? Record earnings, what happened to the profits? Down. Why, Mark? You got it, Mark. Right, Rick? Why were they down? Yeah, currency. They got clobbered by currency, Mark. And so what's happening right now is the CAPE, and you've heard me talk about this, Shiller's PE earnings, so based on the last 10 years, and it's a very, very good, excellent predictor. We have the highest PE in history now, except for the 1929 stock market crash in 2000, before the 2000 stock market crash, and we're almost to where we were in 2008. So does that mean that the market's going to, all these things, does that mean the market's going to collapse? No. It means what? We should be, as I always say, we need to be cautious. That's why we do 50-50. But the big concern is this. If the market does go down and people lose faith in the Chinese government or the Chinese economy and the Federal Reserve, what could that be? A minor recession, a minor correction, or what could that be? See, that's the big thing. It's we're not not worried about a correction or a recession. Those are needed. We need little ones like that. But if the world loses faith in the two things that really have been the only place where people put faith the last 15 years, which is the Federal Reserve and the Chinese economy, that is a problemo. Make sense? Good. So today I want to walk through, it just cracks me up when you look at all these other marketing organizations. They talk about these guys writing $30 million and blah, blah, blah. So I thought we'd do a side-by-side comparison. So I actually ordered the system from one of these guys writing $30 million. So let's compare how he wrote his $30 million compared to what we do. Now, first of all, guys, how many guys out there do you think are writing $30 million with only their signature at the bottom of the applications? None, exactly. So when they say they're writing 30 million, how are they able to write 30 million? Sub-producers, exactly right. So, I mean, if we're going to use that kind of mentality, then some of us are writing a lot more than 30 million, right? But let's say that he is writing 30 million. And here's the thing. Let's take him at his word, but by the end of this hour, you tell me whether you think he's writing 30 million or not, okay? So we're going to go a side-by-side comparison of what he says you should do compared to what we do. So we're going to go mano a mano, this $30 million producer, his system compared to our system, okay? So he does seminars, and we do seminars. So here's what he says. At the seminar, you should teach, show how smart you are. At the end of the seminar, you should say, hey, how was the seminar? Ask them, and so as you're going around making appointments, he said, you should ask each person how was the seminar, and then ask them about their income sources, debt, qualified assets, and savings accounts. So guys, anybody with money, if at the end of the seminar you start asking them the questions, what are they going to do? And I've told you this before. Guess how many times somebody's asked me how much money I have? When somebody asks me how much money I have, what do I say? None. I'm broke. So he's actually, first of all, his whole seminar is teach, right? And who's attracted to teach seminars, guys? Two types of people: do-it-yourselfers and people with no money. Exactly right. And then at the end of the seminar, it says, ask them how the seminar was, and then ask them about all their income sources, debt, qualified assets, etc. And then remember, this questionnaire will be used at the first meeting, so be thorough. So really dig in. As you're getting, first of all, guys, if you're digging in, getting the appointments, how many people are you going to be able to talk to at the end of the event? Yeah, one, not many. So far, how does this guy sound? Because you know what? If this is how he's getting his clients, I guess he'd better get the 3 or 4 people he's able to talk to get appointments with. I hope they have a lot of money, because how many people is he going to be able to talk to if this is what he does? Because it says this questionnaire will be used during the first meeting, so be thorough. Spend time. Ask him all those questions. So what do? We have fun instead of teach. And then we don't teach. We have the audience teach us. What do I mean by that, guys? Any point worth making must be made by who? Any point worth making must be made by who? Them, exactly. That's right, Jeannie. So have the audience tell us 3 times why they need to make an appointment with us at the end or during the event. At the end or during? Yeah, during. And we do not talk about the money. Why do we not talk about the money? Why do we not talk about the money? You're right, Brad. It turns them off, which means anybody with money is going to what? Dudes, if you're at an event and somebody's asking you how much, I don't care if it's for travel or buying a home or about investing. If somebody's asking you about your money, what do you know that person is asking you about your money for? Why are they asking you about your money? They want to get at it, exactly. So far, if you were going to choose contender or 5Q group for an event, which one would you do? Which one do you think makes most sense to have success with? By a little or a lot? I'll do the old 5Q. By a little or a lot? So far, I don't know, and you're going to laugh here in about 3 or 4 slides about what this guy's telling you to do. So he says, teach. At the end of the seminar, ask all sorts of questions. Get really thorough. Spend a lot of time with them. And we're the complete opposite. Hey, don't teach. Have fun. Have the audience teach us. Don't talk about the money. So now, at the first appointment, here's what he says. Don't talk shop right away. Spend 5-10 minutes talking to them about their family, their hobbies, developing rapport. What do I think about that? Remember that ARP has done a study to find, I've done a study, and they said there's 2 main indicators. There's 2 main indicators that should indicate to you that somebody is somebody you need to be worried about, somebody who has fraudulent behavior, somebody who's not ethical. Guess what those 2 things are? One is when they ask you a question, they don't answer it specifically. Guess what the second thing is? Feigned interest, right, Bert? Feigned interest. So if they get really friendly with you and you ask you all those sorts of things about you and oh boy, they're really, really interested in you, that you should be worried about. So the 2 things Art said you should be worried about for fraud is if you ask them a question, they don't give you a direct answer, and if they show too much feigned interest. So with this guys, if you go to buy a car and the guy spends 5-10 minutes trying to find out about you, what football teams you like? Oh, you got some kids? Oh, those are beautiful kids. Oh, you fish? I fish too. When you're at the car dealership and he's doing that, why do you think he's doing that? Because he's interested in you? Why do you think he's doing that? Come on, I must see some answers. Why do you think he's doing that? Yeah, to warm me up for sale. That's the only reason. Right, Jeannie? Right, Bobby? So don't do that. Tell them about yourself and your practice. Do I recommend that you, we'll talk about that in a second. Tell them about yourself and practice. Forge a relationship that shows you care about them as individuals. Guys, can I ask you a question? How can you show them at the first meeting that you care about them? I'm confused. How would you do that? Anybody have any ideas? I guess I could say, hey, I care about my clients. I really spend a lot of time with them. I return their phone calls. I send them birthday cards. What do they think about anything that you try to do to tell them how much you care? See, think about this, guys. How many advisors say that they care about their clients? How many advisors brag about that they love their clients, they take care of their clients? So if you do that, what do you think? You're right, all of them do. So if you try to do that at the first meeting, what do all clients think you're doing? That you're full of what? Baloney. What do? We have a 40-second question script. So we actually we say, hey, would it be okay if I share with you what happens the next hour or so? We're taking control of the meeting, but are we doing it rudely, or are we showing, when we say, hey, would it be okay if I share with you what happens the next hour or so? When I do that, we're taking control of the meeting so they can ask a question, but are we doing it by showing courtesy? Are we doing it by showing respect? Are we doing it by saying, hey, listen, nothing's going to happen without your permission? I mean, when people come in, are they worried about whether they're, what's going to happen the next hour? So we're alleviating those fears that they have, and we're being professional. Then we have the setting the tone script. We talk about how we're paid. That all of that is about maybe 2.5 minutes long. Do we talk about ourselves at all at this meeting? No. Why? Why wouldn't we want to talk about ourselves? It's all about them, Jerry. Hey, can I ask you guys a question? Last time you went to the doctor, did the doctor say, first of all, did the doctor try to warm you up? How about the attorney? Did the attorney try to warm you up? How about the accountant? Did the accountant try to warm you up? Those three professionals, what did they do? When you went in to see them, what did they do? Were they polite? Yeah, John. John said, had me cough. They were polite. They were professional. They were friendly, but were they overly friendly? Trying to set rapport with you? No. You don't. If you're talking about yourself, then what are you doing? Something we never want to do. If you're talking about yourself, what are you doing? Telling, selling, preaching, teaching. So when you went to the attorney, just so you know, I went to this college and I was the second in my class, and I have this clear. I'm on estate planning. Blah 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 blah. Do they do that? No. Salespeople do that. Do we want to be a salesperson? So far, which side do you want to be, the contender side or the 5Q side? Because if you're on the contender side, people with money are going to do what? Going to be opening their wallets or putting their hands on their wallets. And don't try to do the old school rapport for the very reasons we just talked about. Now, more first meeting appointment pointers from this guy. I mean, this is a whole manual that he had on how he made all this money. Start the conversation by letting the client share their retirement fears. If you do that, what's going to happen, guys? Think about this for one thing. Who are we meeting with? Yeah, you're going to lose control, Rick. You're right. Who are we meeting with? People that think they have problems? People with money, John, exactly. And people with money, guess what they think? Do they have retirement fears? Are they driving the cars they want? Are they going on vacation when they want? Eating at the restaurants they want? Seeing the kids when they want? So if I try to probe and find their fears, guess what happens to people with money? Now, you know what? People with no money, they'll tell you their fears, won't they? Terrific. So you're going to spend an hour with somebody who has no money, and he's going to tell you all about their fears. Well, terrific. That's not who we're working with. We're working with people that don't. So this is 100% what? This little suggestion right here. Smart or idiocy? So they agreed for this meeting. See, this is the biggest problem that advisors have. They agreed to this meeting for a reason, so obviously they think they have a problem. See, that's the biggest problem advisors have, when they think that people agreed to a meeting because the person thinks they have a problem. Why do people agree to a meeting? Because they think they have a problem? No, why do they agree to a meeting? Because they have what? What do you mean by kick the tires? They have what? Why do people agree to the meetings? Questions, Victoria. Exactly right. Right, Brad. They have questions. They don't think they have problems. They have questions. If they thought they had problems, what would they have done before they ever received your marketing piece? If they really thought they had problems, what would they have done before they even received your marketing? Yes, they would have solved them. They would have found somebody to fix them for them. They wouldn't have waited until, God, I have this problem, I have this problem. Is that how we go to the doctor? Geez, I have this horrible pain in my side. Geez, I have this horrible pain in my side. I can't wait for a doctor to send me a solicitation so I can go fix it. No, if they have a problem, they go fix it. Find their hot button. We do not find their, do we give a rat's patootie about their hot button? Why don't we, they're right, Victoria, never, yep, great. Why don't we care about their hot button? We got 21 hot buttons. Yes, John, but give me it even better, John. Those 21 hot buttons end up being how hot? What's the real hot button? Because think about this, guys. The advisor, Kevin, you're exactly right. The hot button, let me see. If their hot button is is taxes, how long do they think about they don't like paying taxes, guys? If their hot button is taxes, how long do they think about it? They get their quarterly once a year or maybe even 4 times a year. And then how long do they think about it? 1 minute, right, Rick? They say, gosh, I hate writing this check. They write the check, and then they go back to watching the football game. How long does that hot button last? Diddly do. Okay, let's say, first of all, I hope to goodness that your clients aren't afraid of running out of money, because if they are, you're working with clients you shouldn't be working with. Because the clients I work with have money. They're not worried about running out of money. But let's say they are worried about it. If they have money, and yet they're still worried about running out of money, how often do they think about that? Is that all-consuming? Are they every minute of the day, every day? Is it every minute of the day? If they're worried about running out of money and they have money, is it every minute of the day? No, when the market drops, right, Bobby? Just occasionally. That's the only time they worry about it. What if they're let's see, what else could their hot button be? What else could their hot button be, guys? Give me another idea what their hot button could be. Not getting enough interest. Yeah, not getting enough interest. That's a good one. So how often do they think about that? Is it all consuming and they think every single day about, they're eating their sandwich and they say, geez, I wish I could get more interest? Or do they just think about that when they get their statements once a month from the bank? And then how long do they think about it? See, the problem with hot buttons is they're not really hot buttons. Or I guess they would be hot buttons. And as soon as they quit pressing that button, how quickly do they forget about their hot buttons? Let's get a lot of answers on this. This is important. Right away it goes away. Right away. Goes away right away. So here's the thing. The hot button we come up with is white hot and does not go away. It's like a worm in their brain. When they find out that their guy is taking advantage of them, is a lying, cheating thief, and do we say that, guys, or did the client say that? Do we say he's a lying, cheating thief, or do they say that? They do. So when they say it, they what? When they say it, they own it, they believe it. So if I think the person who has all of my 30 years, 40 years of savings in their hands is a lying, cheating thief, is that a hot button? Does that go away? Would I say, you know what, when I get home from vacation, I'm going to take care of this? Would I go on vacation if I really believe the guy who had all my money was taking advantage of me? Probably not, Rick. What do you mean, probably not? What would I be thinking about on vacation? What would I be thinking about on vacation? If somebody, 40 years of your savings are with somebody that you're convinced is a lying, cheating thief, what would you be thinking about all vacation? Yeah, it would exactly, Victoria, ruin your vacation. So we aren't worried about a hot button. See, and are they aware of that? I mean, how much hotter is that button than any button that they think they have a problem with? It's light years ahead of any of the others. But do they know they have that problem right now? No. So why would I even bother worrying about their hot button? And then he says, use some examples of how you've helped others in the past. Guys, if you start to explain at the first meeting how you've helped others in the past, what are you telling those folks? Do you plan on what? Selling them, right, Jeannie? Selling them, Mark, exactly. Selling Bert. So good. So now, how many people are going to show up for their second meeting that have money? Do people like to be sold things, guys? No, they don't. So here's the thing. The way he's doing it, it does work 1 time out of 10, right? Right place, right time. He found that one person who's not satisfied with where they are right now, or just moved to town, or their advisor retired, so they need somebody. So right place, right time. But is he going to have, if the person is totally satisfied with where they are right now, which is, guys, is that the most, do we get in front of more people who are right place, right time, that they just moved to town, or they just, their guy just retired, or they hate their situation? How many of those people do we get in front of compared to the people who come to see us that are tire kickers, plate lickers, and aren't totally happy with where they are right now? Is this guy going to have any chance with a tire kicker, plate licker, or somebody who's totally happy with where they are right now, with what he's doing so far? Not even. See, we, at the beginning of the first appointment, we don't want to lose control of the meeting, so we're not going to ask them about a bunch of questions, because if you ask them about their hot buttons, guess what they're going to start to do? Ask what? Questions. And are we qualified at that point to answer any questions they have? Do we know enough about them to answer any questions they have at the first meeting? No, we don't. We don't find their hot button. We don't tell, sell, preach, or teach. Telling people all about how you've helped so many other people, that's telling, selling, preaching, and teaching. Should they believe you guys? No. Even more pointers on meeting number 1. Use third-party proof that you're a retirement expert, like magazine articles. Dudes, how is that going to help you if you whip out magazine articles that show that you're a retirement expert? They don't get magazines? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Show you are different from other advisors by telling them that you have relationships in the industry with the CPAs you network with and how you volunteer in your community. Again, so far, this is all about who? What's this meeting all about so far? The advisor, and that's right, Jerry, who cares? The client's thinking, who cares? Tell them about all the clients you've helped reach their goals. So if the guy is totally happy with where they are right now, what does he even care that you've helped other people reach their goals? If he's happy with where he's at, and again, that's the most people we get in front of. The people who are okay with where they are right now, they just have questions. So does he really care if you helped other people? Yeah, me, Jeff, exactly right. See, this is what's he using here? He's using the beauty pageant mentality, which is what? Hey, if I'm smarter, if I'm nicer, if I have better ideas, if I am better than their current guy, they're going to move to me. Does that work, guys? Will somebody move just to something that's better? Would they pick up and move their entire life savings to somebody who says that they're better than their current guy? Yeah, one out of what? He's at 1 out of 10. Because why? Do people like confrontation? No. Do people like hassle? No. And moving from their current guy is full of what? And why should they believe it? What's the easiest thing to do? What's the easiest thing to do? If you give them ideas on how to help them, what do they stay where they are? Take it back to their current guy. So we don't use the beauty pageant mentality. During the last 5 minutes of the meeting, give the prospects a taste of what they will get when they're working with you. More what? Telling, selling, preaching, and teaching. And now that he's saying that you should give them a hint. Hey, how would you, and here's the thing you're going to like about this. I can show you ways to get have your money grow without risk to your money. Now, what are the people, when you start giving them a 5 or 10 minute commercial, what are they going to go home and do with that information? What are they going to go home and do with that information? They're going to Google it. They're going to Google it, or they're going to talk to who? Their friend, neighbor, or relative, or they'll take it back to their guy. Yeah, that's another thing. And no matter what they Google, no matter who they talk to, their friend, neighbor, relative, or their guy, what are they going to say about that thing that you were giving them a commercial on for 5 or 10 minutes? Oh, that sounds like a what? That sounds like an annuity, or that sounds like a REIT, or that sounds like a life insurance, or that sounds like what? Oh, you don't want to what? Do that stuff. Let them know that you know how to protect their money. Oh, terrific, because you know what, my current guy, what? My current guy's never said they could protect my money. Be excited to work with them. Terrific. Now, here's the one thing you did get right. Set the next appointment before. So far, out of all the things I've shown you, the total 100% horse hockey, except this one right here, which is set the next appointment right then and right there. But let's go back to this. Why don't I want to show them I'm excited to be working with them? That's a tricky one. Why don't I want to show them that I'm excited to be working with them? Telegraphing, John, you're exactly right. Telegraphing what? You're exactly right. Yeah, that's right, Victoria. You're saying you need them, you want to make money from them. That's why you're excited. Really? You just met these people and you're excited to be working with them? At the first meeting, we need to be polite. We need to be friendly, but we need to be what? Professional. You don't want to be excited. Now, but I will tell you that he did get this right. You should set the appointment right then and right there. So how are we different? We don't tell, sell, preach, or teach. But they did get that one, finally. They got one thing right. Set the appointment before they leave. Set the appointment before they leave. So when should we set the appointment for? How far in the future? 1 week, exactly right. So far, who's coming back for their second meeting, guys? Who's coming back for their second meeting? The contender's second meeting. Yeah, the 1 out of 10. Right place, right time. But the other 9 who are totally happy with where they are right now, how many of those people are going to show up for the next meeting? And why? Why won't they show up for the next meeting? They had some questions. Why won't they show? Because they had some questions. They got to come back to that next meeting to find the answers. Why won't they show up? They know they're going to be sold, Victoria. You hit it on the head. That's right, Terry. They know they're going to be sold, and nobody likes to be sold. The only people that are going to show up are the do-it-yourselfers. Or, again, and I agree with Kevin. He says he doesn't even think it's 1 out of 10 anymore. He thinks it's less than 1 out of 10. And I would agree with that. Now, here's his recommendation at the second appointment. Your meeting should start with their hot button you discovered at the first meeting. Because of that, you may have the sale made in the first 5 minutes of the second meeting, he says. This is a quote. That's why I put it in quotes. He says, and because you're starting your second meeting with the hot button, you probably got a sale in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Not even 10, sorry. You probably have the sale made in the first 5 minutes. That's what? I better give you this guy's name, right? Because you're all going to move over to this doughhead. How much? It's no wonder. Guys, if this happened, should he be writing $30 million a year? Hey, all we do is find out their hot button, tell them we can solve their hot button, and guess what they do, guys? They move their money to us in the first 5 minutes. That's awesome. And make sure to mention the client's hot button over and over and over at a meeting. This is just totally great. How are we different? Don't tell, sell, preach, or teach. Help the client for the first time in their life really understand where they are and what they have. Do we tell them, hey, we got the solutions for your hot button. We got the solution for your hot button. We got the solution for your hot button. Or do we simply walk through and help the client for the first time in their lives discover what they have and why they have it? And by doing that, we've created the hottest of hot buttons, which is what? So let's get a lot of answers on this one. What hot button have we created by just having the client realize for the first time in their life what it is that they have and why they have it? No, it's not trust. It's not trust. Guys, what have we created? It's not greed either. Dudes, what have we created? John got it, loss of loyalty. No, guys, some of you guys are saying, yeah, we've created a bond, we've created trust with us. No, is this meeting about me? Is the second meeting about me, the advisor? If we think it's about having them trust me and bond with me, you got it all wrong. Now we're back to the beauty pageant mentality. This has nothing to do with me. It has to do with them and their current situation, and the hottest of hot buttons is they've discovered that they can't what? Trust their guy. And when does that hot button go away? Never. Never, never, never. It's a worm in their brain. So over here, the contender is doing what the whole time? Sell and sell and sell, and apparently he's such a great salesman he can do it in the first 5 minutes. Sell and sell and selling. We don't sell at all. Do we sell anything at the first meeting? Or, I'm sorry, the second meeting. All we do is let them discover what it is that they have and why they have it. More second meeting at pointers. Educate your clients by giving them the 10-minute 101 on benefits of annuities. How's that going to work, guys? I'm assuming you know that's not going to work since we've had to talk about why people say I hate annuities twice in the last month at our Friday meetings. If you start to push annuities at the second meeting, what are they going to do? You're not even teaching. I mean, you're right, though, Terry, because it says educate the clients. But really, are you educating? What are you doing here? So I agree why you're saying that, Terry, but in reality, what are we doing? Yeah, we're selling. Terrific. Show your clients how annuities will solve their hot button problem. Geez, guys, why haven't you thought about this? Boy, we're all idiots, aren't we? This is what? This is breaking news. These great ideas this guy has. He writes $30 million. And then we hear the real thing. Oh, second meetings are typically referrals that are ready to become clients at the end of the second meeting. And then we say what? Aha, you dumbass. Why didn't you tell us at the beginning of this? Because guys, if this is a referral, how many referrals should you sell? So at the end of all this crap that he's giving us, he says, oh, by the way, second meetings are typically referrals. Really? You can be an idiot and sell referrals. Now let me ask you a question. So he's writing $30 million apparently from only getting referrals. So that means, first of all, we've just said what percentage of people that we get to see are plate lickers, tire kickers, and are totally happy with where they are right now. Because if there's any marketing that pre-sells somebody, where would we be? If there was any marketing that had people come to see us pre-sold, where would we be? Out of a job, right, Bobby? We'd be out of a job. No, we wouldn't be in the Bahamas. Guys, if there was marketing that pre-sold, who would be using it? That's right, the insurance company, the money managers, the mutual fund companies, and who would be out of a job? Now let's talk about this doughhead here who drags us through all this crap about how he's got this fantastical meeting process, and then at the end tells us, oh yeah, this works because they're referrals. Hey, I love referrals. You love referrals. If we could get referrals, we'd all be, how many of us would be doing referrals if we could get them? And there's been hundreds of books written about referrals, thousands of articles written about referrals, and what are all the books, and are any of the books new? Are any of the magazine articles new about some new way of getting referrals, or are they all the same old tripe recycled over and over and over? Because if somebody had figured out a way to do referrals, how long could he keep that secret? If somebody figured out a way to do referrals, how long could he keep that? No, John, how long could he keep that a secret? Not long is right. Why? Why would he not be able to keep it a secret very long? Because people would see what he's doing and what? Now, you're right, John. I think he'd want to keep it secret forever. Absolutely right. But how long would he be able to keep it secret? He wouldn't. So how much garbage is this, guys? He gives us this great, fantastic system, and then at the end he says, of course, all the people I get are from referrals. Now, let me ask you a question. Why do referral systems not work? See if anybody knows this. Why do referral systems not work? Your clients love you. I know your clients love you. I've never met an advisor whose clients didn't love them. They wouldn't become clients if they didn't. So why would they, if they love you, why do referral systems not work? Craig got it. Craig got it. Paul got it. That's right. Fear of rejection. Here's the thing, guys. Let's say my client loves me. He goes over to the neighbor. Man, you got to work with Mike, man. He's an awesome financial advisor. He helped me retire. He got me to a place I never thought I could get. He is a fantastic advisor. You should meet with him. What does my client's neighbor say? What's my client's neighbor say? Yeah, I got one. You should see him. So when will my client ever refer again? Hey, you guys are in the business of rejection, and how many of you like rejection? I know our clients love us, but do they love us enough to get rejected more than once? So the only way you're going to get a referral system to work is this. Is if you can get a client's friends, neighbors, and relatives to ask your client for a referral. Because the referrals we get from our clients are what? It's when their cousin says, hey, I need an advisor, you know one. Or their neighbor says, hey, my guy left, do you know of any good advisors? Then when somebody asks your client for a referral, will they refer to you? Heck yeah, they will. They love to. So until you can figure out a referral system that somehow gets your clients' friends, neighbors, and relatives to ask them for a referral, our referral system is going to work. Because will people ask or recommend you more than once? And let's say this. Let's say your client does say to a friend, neighbor, relative, says, hey, you got to meet my guy. He's really good. He's terrific. He's got me to a place I never thought I'd be. He's the best financial advisor in Rochester. And the client says, super, what's his name? And they come. Okay, so we got one referral from him. What's the likelihood if that happened that the next guy, because that's a 1 in 100 thing. So what's the likelihood the next person they ask would say that? So yeah, tell me, who is he? Ain't going to happen. So the most referrals you get from a client is one with them going out to look for them. So people who survive on referrals are doing it just because the people that are their clients are just simply referring when somebody asks them for a referral. Do you think I want to see, do you think I'm out to lunch here, guys? Okay, so this guy here with his fantastic system is full of what? When he finally tells us at the end that these are referrals. Malarkey, exactly. We don't tell, sell, preach, or teach. We don't present product until they completely understand what their current situation is. And we close 100% of referrals and 90% of real prospects. How many of the real prospects would this guy sell? Yeah, I'd say 5% seems about right. 1 or 2%, I'd agree with that too. But why then can we sell 90% of real prospects? He's saying, hey, watch for buying signs, agreeing with every statement, not, okay, what do we think about that kind of crap? Watch for buying signs. When they agree, when they say, yeah, I agree, and they nod, what's that worth? Means nothing. This guy doesn't have any clue what he's talking about, does he? Because what does a yes and a nod mean? Nada. If they haven't decided to buy, give them this handy book and ask them to read the chapter marked. Guys, if you have not been able to sell them, what's the chance that a book is going to sell them? If you, sitting in front of them, were not able to sell them, what's the chance of a book being able to sell them? Buying signs are worthless. We don't look for buying signs. Why? Why don't we look for buying signs? We ask open-ended questions and have the client explain to us why they're going to buy from us. We don't look for signs. We have the client explain to us what they're going to do. Oops. Oh, we have a book. Do we ever use a book and hand it out at the end of the second? Guys, that's not, if you can't sell them one-on-one, if at the end of the second meeting they're not saying that they don't trust their guy anymore, is a book going to do it for you? I just can't figure out, if this guy's only getting in front of referrals, why does he need any of this stuff? Why does he need to send them a book? If he's not closing referrals, he's a doughhead. Third appointment, show them the pros and cons of your recommendation. If the spouse is the one that is reticent, say to move forward, say, hey, I don't want you to proceed unless you're both on board. Live to fight another day. First of all, do we show them the pros and cons of our recommendations? Who does then? Who shows them the pros and cons of the situation? First of all, do we show them any pros of the situation, of the, yeah, they tell us, Stephen, exactly right. And do we show them any pros? Is our presentation, the 50-50 presentation, the no cap presentation, the one-way presentation, does it have any pros in it? Or is it all cons? Yep, they're all cons, and then who explains to us that those cons are not, they don't care about the cons, and they want the product anyways? They do. So kudos. Now at the end, though, I will give them kudos. If the client doesn't want to move forward, then we don't want to move forward. But what does that tell you at that point? If the client doesn't want to move forward at the end of our presentation, what does that tell you? Why? Why did we fail? Why didn't we do it correctly, Bert? What do you think the problem is? If at the end they say they don't want to do it, what did we do wrong? I'd agree with that, Mark. Old habits. What did we do wrong? That's right, Bert. We told, or who said that? Yeah, we told instead of them. Because if they explain to me for an hour that they want to move all their money here, if they explain to me, I don't make one suggestion, I don't make one statement, but they answer 70, 80, they tell me 70, 80 times in one shape, form, or another they want to move the money, what are they going to say at the end? This is the third meeting where we're showing the solution. If you look at the 50-50 presentation, the one-way presentation, or the no cap presentation, how many statements do I make, guys? How many statements? None. So the client basically explains to me for an hour and a half what? What do they explain to me for an hour and a half over and over and over? Why they want to do it. So what are they not going to say at the end? Yeah, they're going to explain to me for an hour why they want to do something, and at the end say, but I don't want to do it. Is that going to happen, guys? No. So here's some more closing pointers. Are you incorporating these things in your close? Your close relationship with CPAs and attorneys. That'll get them, won't it? That you drive to your clients' homes. Oh, that's a good selling point. That you do annual reviews. Man, I wish, you know what? I can't believe an advisor would have relationships with CPAs and attorneys. Can you? That's crazy. I've never heard of that before. That you'll drive to their homes? That's customer service. You do annual reviews. Have you ever heard of an advisor that would do such things? This is above and beyond, isn't it? This is unbelievable that an advisor would do these things. Guys, really? So this is going to be what pushes your clients over? There's no differentiation. Exactly right. That you have credentials? It's kind of late at this point, isn't it? That you're a public speaker? Guys, what does every single one of your competitors have? All of these things. So how's that going to help you? Dude, this isn't about you. It's about who? The biggest, see, do you get the biggest difference between what the contender is doing and what we do is what? The contender is all about who? Himself. And we're all about who? Them. So why does it work better when it's all about the client versus it's all about us? A contender is a pretender. I like that, Bob. See, it's all about them. See, he's using this beauty pageant mentality. Hey, will that work for referrals, guys? Yeah, it'll work for referrals. Beauty pageant will work for referrals. Why? Anything works for referrals. We don't do that. We use the 21-point checklist, which does what, guys? What does it do to trust? It creates the hottest of all hot buttons that doesn't go away. It's a worm in their brain saying what? I can't stay with my guy. So do you really think this guy is writing $30 million based on his system? I got one no. I want to see a lot of no's. Because, dudes, they're all out here saying that, and you think they have some sort of... Was there anything new about what this guy was saying? Not a single thing. So if what he says is working, it would work for who? How much would we all be writing? Do you get that? So I understand it takes a lot of work to learn the 5Q system. It does take a lot of work because we're doing the opposite of what this doughhead is doing. And is this guy I just showed you, is he exceptional? Or is he basically saying what every other system out there, every other doughhead is saying out there? So I understand, and that's, you know what, he's doing what I used to do. So I understand it's difficult to learn the 5Q system, but if you do it, if you spend 15 minutes a day getting better, just 15 minutes a day, taking a tape, finding the one thing you could improve, figuring out what you say, and repeating it 20 times, just every day, Monday through Friday, by the end of a week, you've corrected 5 things. By the end of the month, you've corrected 20 things. By the end of 2 months, you've corrected 40 things. How long will it be before the tire kickers and plate lickers don't have a chance with you? So please, take the 5Q system. I know it's requiring you to learn something new, but it's worth learning. If you do it, it works. Make sense? So was it an okay for me to walk through a comparison side by side of what we're doing compared to what everybody else is doing, just so we can see better why we're doing what we're doing? Does it help you when you look at side by side why what we're doing actually works? Cool. Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate all you guys, especially appreciate all you guys that are really putting in a lot of work with this, and I do appreciate the time and effort you're putting into it, and it will pay off. Start doing that 15 minutes a day. That will really, really pay off. You heard what Brad said on Friday, that it really made a huge difference. And Brad, again, is one of the top. He was a top advisor before he came on with us. So for him to say that, guys, you need to pay attention, because for a guy who's already a very good producer, you know, a top of the table type producer that uses this and sees his production go up even higher, you got to pay attention to that stuff. Okay. So thanks everybody. Have a great week. We'll talk to you all on Friday. Thanks everybody.